I don't remember the crash. That's what Adrian says happened. A crash. Something quick, something violent, something that took pieces of me with it. When I woke up in this apartment, all glass and pale wood, with soft rain tapping against the windows like someone trying not to wake me, I didn't recognize anything. Not the sheets, not the city skyline, not the man sitting in the corner chair, holding a book he hadn't turned the page of in 20 minutes. He looked up when I stirred. His face was kind, gentle, tired. "You're okay," he said, like he was trying to believe it too. I asked him where I was. He smiled, like someone trying not to cry. "Home," he said, and when I didn't answer, he added, "with me." His name is Adrian. He makes good tea, always brings it just before I ask. He says we were engaged, that we were planning a trip to Lisbon, that we had a favorite cafe 3 blocks from here, white tile, walnut cake, my usual corner seat. He tells me things slowly, like he's unwrapping them carefully from tissue paper, like the truth is too fragile to hand over all at once. I wish I could remember anything about him. I wish I didn't feel afraid of someone so kind. Today, he gave me one of my old books, something annotated, full of tabs. "You loved this," he said, setting it gently beside me. He was right. I recognized the way I underlined certain phrases. I just didn't remember doing it. There's a mirror in the bedroom. I stood in front of it for 10 minutes this morning. My hair looked familiar, my hands, the scar on my hip. But my eyes looked like they were waiting for someone else to arrive. I found a note today in the pocket of a coat hanging by the door. It was torn, crumpled, written in handwriting I instinctively knew was mine. Just 5 words. "Don't trust the man smiling." I haven't told Adrian about it. I don't know if I will. The rain hasn't stopped since I got here. It sheets down the windows in long, slow streaks, smudging the city outside into lights and shadows. Adrian says I used to love the rain, that I used to sit exactly where I'm sitting now, curled into the couch by the window, with headphones in and my journal open. I looked through every notebook he said was mine. They're full of words, just not mine. At least, not the version of me I know now. Today, I found a playlist on the kitchen speaker. Adrian said it was one of my favorites. It started with a soft acoustic track, something gentle and looping, and by the 3rd song, I was crying. No reason, just the kind of cry that happens when your body remembers something your mind doesn't. When a voice inside you starts saying, "Yes, yes, I know this hurt. I know this person. I know this loss." I asked Adrian where the playlist came from. He didn't answer. He only looked at me with that same quiet ache in his face. The one I've started to wonder is more guilt and grief. Later, I found a voice message on the iPad. It was in the deleted folder. I don't know why I was looking there. Maybe I was looking for myself. The voice wasn't Adrian's. It was someone else, a man. He sounded shaken, angry, but also scared. He said my name, not Nina, Leah. He said, "Please tell me this isn't how it ends. Please tell me you remember what he did." Then the message cut off. Adrian came into the room 10 minutes later. He brought me tea like always, chamomile this time. He asked me if I was okay. I said yes, but I felt something I hadn't felt before. A fracture, running down the center of this life he built for me. Not big enough to break it, not yet, but enough for the truth to slip through, drop by drop. And now I have a new question. If I'm not Nina, then who was I before him? I think I'm dreaming someone else's dreams. Last night, I stood in a hallway I didn't recognize, flooded with yellow light. The walls were peeling. Someone had written words across them in red over and over. Remember what you promised. I turned. At the far end stood a woman. She looked like me. No, not quite. Her hair was longer, darker. Her posture was different. Shoulders back, eyes sharp, like someone who had survived something that no one else had. She didn't speak, but I woke up with her voice in my head, clear as glass. That smile isn't for you. It's for him. Adrian noticed I was quieter this morning. He sat with me in the kitchen, tracing his finger around the rim of his mug. "You know I love you," he said. Not like a question, not like comfort, like a reminder. I nodded. He looked at me too long, like he was waiting for something I didn't know I was supposed to give him. When I didn't, he leaned forward, brushing hair behind my ear. "You used to tell me everything," he said softly. I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. "Because there's something he doesn't know I found." Behind a stack of cookbooks in the bottom cabinet, a box. Inside, a phone, locked, dead. A key, unmarked, and a photo. The photo was of me, or maybe of Leah. She was standing on a rooftop, holding hands with a man who wasn't Adrian. His face was turned just slightly, enough for me to see the curve of his mouth, the way he looked at her like she was his reason for breathing. On the back of the photo, in handwriting I recognized as mine, were 4 words: "Don't forget this time." Later, in the bathroom, I looked in the mirror again. This time, the girl looking back didn't flinch. She didn't belong to Adrian. She didn't drink chamomile tea or sit by windows listening to rain. She was waiting. And whatever I forgot, it didn't forget me. Adrian works late on Thursdays. At least, that's what he says. He leaves at 6 sharp. Black coat, black gloves, kiss on the cheek. He doesn't take his briefcase anymore, just his phone and a thermos. Tonight, as soon as the elevator shut behind him, I began checking every drawer in the apartment. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, only that I'd stopped trusting what he told me, and worse, what I told myself. The apartment is minimalist, too much so. It's like someone erased a life and left only the outline. No clutter, no framed photos, no evidence that I existed here longer than a week. Except in the bedroom closet, where I found the dress. Black, silky, expensive, not my size. Tucked into a dry cleaning sleeve with a tag that read, "L. Marrow." Leah, it had to be. And then I remembered something. A voice from my dream 2 nights ago. It whispered, "He likes when you wear it, even if he says he doesn't." I sat on the edge of the bed holding the dress, and I swear I could feel her in the room with me. Not angry, not scared, just patient. Like she'd been waiting for me to find it. Like she was still here, somewhere under my skin. I didn't hear Adrian come in, but when I turned around, he was standing in the doorway. No coat, no gloves, just him. His eyes dropped to the dress in my lap. "I found it," I said. He didn't speak, just stepped forward slowly, carefully, as if approaching something that might break if touched too fast. "I wasn't hiding it," he said quietly. "I just didn't think you were ready." Ready for what? To remember what we were before all this. Before what? He sat beside me, not touching, watching. "You were hurting," he said, "when you came here, when you became mine." That word, mine, it scraped something raw inside me. "I don't think I came here," I said. "I think you brought me." A pause. Then, "I brought you back." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small silver flash drive. He set it on the bed between us like an offering. "It's yours. Videos, messages, the things you left behind for yourself when you decided to forget." My hands didn't move. My mouth was dry. "You mean you let me erase myself?" I whispered. "And now you're letting me watch who I used to be?" Adrian looked at me, and for the first time since I met him, he didn't look like someone who'd lost something. He looked like someone who'd won. I didn't watch it right away. The flash drive sat on the nightstand like a sharp object in a room full of soft things. I brushed my teeth, made tea, stared at the ceiling. But the longer I waited, the more I imagined what I had recorded. Eventually, I plugged it in. There were 3 files. The first was a video, titled simply "For After." I pressed play. The girl on screen looked like me, but thinner, paler, hair slightly messier, eyes dull around the edges. She sat on this same bed, the walls bare behind her, fingers twisting a necklace I've never seen before. "If you're watching this," she gave a small, breathless laugh, "then you did it. You forgot." I froze. Good. That means it worked. She leaned closer, and suddenly the image sharpened, like she wanted to make sure I couldn't look away. "You don't want to remember, Nina. You think you do, but you don't, because you loved him too much. And when you love someone that much, you start letting them carve pieces off you just to keep them happy." My breath caught in my throat. "You said yes to things that made you sick. You said no to the part of you that screamed. You kept making excuses, kept saying it wasn't that bad, but it was." She paused, swallowing hard. "And one night, you told yourself you'd rather forget who you were than keep being her. So we found someone who could help." She looked over her shoulder, at the closet maybe, or the door, then back at the camera. "If you're watching this, you must think you're ready to know again. But I have one question." She leaned forward until her face filled the frame. "Is he still watching when you sleep?" I slammed the laptop shut. The sound was too loud, too final. It echoed through the quiet like a warning shot. Behind me, the hallway light flicked on. Adrian's silhouette filled the doorway. "You found it?" he asked. I couldn't speak. He stepped into the room, slowly, his expression unreadable. "I told you," he said softly. "You asked for this. You begged for a clean slate. You wanted to forget the worst parts. I gave you that." I stood up, the blood rushing in my ears. What did I forget, Adrian? He looked at me for a long time, then said that you were the one who hurt me. You were the one who hurt me. His voice was quiet, steady, and completely wrong. I stared at Adrian, waiting for something to shift. A twitch in the corner of his mouth, a crack in the performance. But he just stood there, like he believed it. Like that sentence had been waiting behind his teeth for weeks. I don't remember hurting anyone, I said slowly. He nodded. Exactly. That's why I kept the flash drive. That's why I stayed. You stayed? My voice sharpened. You moved me in. You gave me a name. You begged me to, he interrupted. You said you didn't want to go back to who you were. You asked me to keep you safe from her. I felt dizzy, like the floor was tilting, like every step I'd taken toward the truth had led me in a circle. Safe from who? I asked. He looked at me like I was a child. From yourself. After he went to bed, I watched the second video. This one was shorter, no date, just 45 seconds. The screen was dark, audio only. My voice. If he tells you it was all your fault, don't believe him. Pause. Then laughter. Not mine, not his. Too soft, too close to the mic. My voice again, lower now. I think he started copying me before I left. End of file. I didn't sleep. Not because I was scared. Not exactly. It was something colder than fear. A kind of mental vertigo. Had I done something terrible? Had I rewritten the past to survive it? Or had he? That morning, I opened the third file. Not a video, a single image. A screenshot from a security camera. Date stamp, 1 year ago. Time, 2:46 a.m. It showed me, standing barefoot in a hallway, facing a mirror. In the reflection, Adrian, behind me, his hand at my throat, and my mouth smiling. I stared at the image for a long time. The hallway, the mirror, the way my body leaned back against him as if I belonged there, as if I liked it. But my eyes, even pixelated, even grainy, didn't match the smile on my mouth. They looked blank, empty. I tried to remember that night, tried to summon even the blur of a feeling. Nothing came, just the echo of her voice. I think he started copying me before I left. I closed the laptop and sat on the edge of the bed, gripping the sheets until my knuckles went white. Outside the window, it had started to rain, soft at first, then heavier. The sound filled the silence like static, or like applause, a soundtrack to something I hadn't yet realized was ending. Adrian knocked on the door. I didn't answer. He didn't press, just left something by the door, a small folded note. I opened it with hands I didn't quite trust anymore. It read, "There are no villains here, Nina, just survivors who needed to forget." Below it, a second line in smaller handwriting. "If you need to leave, you'll find your real name in the drawer beneath the bed." I opened the drawer. There was a folder. Inside, a birth certificate, a driver's license, a court record, an obituary, a photograph of a woman's face, mine, but older. The license read, Iris Madeline Keller. The obituary was for someone named Marlo Quinn, aged 29. The cause of death? Blunt force trauma. Case unsolved. And beneath the photo, handwritten in blue ink, this is the last person who called you by your real name. The woman in the photograph, Marlo Quinn, was smiling. One of those bright, casual smiles you forget the second you see it. The kind people use when they're not really thinking. But something in her eyes made me pause. They looked afraid. Not in a dramatic way, not obvious. Just like she knew she wouldn't be smiling much longer. I sat on the floor, folder open across my legs, rain whispering against the window. Marlo Quinn. The name felt wrong in my mouth, but my chest ached when I said it, like my ribs recognized something my brain didn't. And Iris, the name on the ID, that was even worse. It didn't echo. It didn't fit. I whispered it once. Iris Keller. And then again, Marlo Quinn. And something inside me said, pick one. You can't be both. That night, I waited for Adrian to fall asleep. Then I went into his office. The computer was locked, but the drawers weren't. In the bottom one, I found another flash drive, this one labeled only with a date, 03-17. I plugged it into my laptop and opened the file. It was a video, low quality, surveillance style. It showed me, or Iris, or Marlo, or whoever I was back then, standing in a motel parking lot, pacing, smoking. A man approached her. Adrian. But not calm, careful Adrian. This version was shouting, wild-eyed, furious. I turned the volume up. You said you'd stay gone, he was saying. I, stepped closer. You don't get to be the one who decides who I am. He grabbed her wrist. The audio popped. The screen shook. Then, darkness. The last frame before it cut to black, my face in the side mirror of a car, blood on my cheek, and my mouth opening, not to scream, but to smile. Back in the present, I closed the laptop. The house felt suddenly unfamiliar, every shadow too long, every surface too clean, like a set built to keep me in place. Adrian was asleep on the couch. I sat down beside him. He stirred. I know who I was, I said quietly, but I don't know who you were to her. His eyes opened slowly. Does it matter? He asked. You're not her anymore. But maybe I was never me. He reached out, touched my hand like he was trying to hold something together, and said, then let's become someone else, together. The next morning, I packed a bag. Not because I planned to leave, not yet, but because I needed Adrian to see it, to feel the weight of choice settle between us. He noticed, of course he did. He was always watching more than he spoke. Where would you go? He asked. I didn't answer. He sat at the table with a cup of coffee he hadn't touched. His eyes looked older than yesterday. Or maybe mine were just clearer now. I watched the video, I said. He didn't flinch. That scared me more than anything else. You hit her, I said. You dragged her. Still no reaction. I don't remember it, I added. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. He set the cup down, tapped the rim with his finger. Then he said, You think you're her? I think I might have been. You weren't. You just look like her. I almost laughed. Then why did you keep me? Silence. I stepped closer. Why bring me here? Why lie? Still nothing. So I asked the real question. Did I kill her? He looked up at that, not in fear, not in denial, but with something much worse. Relief. Like he'd been waiting for me to ask. No, he said. She was already dead when I got there. My knees nearly gave out. He stood, came toward me, took my hands, too gently. You called me, he said. You said you'd done something you couldn't undo. I drove through the night. When I found you, you were covered in her blood, crying. You kept saying, she made me into her. I shook my head. That's not real. I don't remember that. You were someone else back then. You weren't safe. My voice cracked. So you erased me? I saved you. He said it like a prayer, like a man who needed me to believe it so he wouldn't fall apart. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the bathtub fully clothed, the water warm around me, watching the ripples fade and return every time I breathed too hard. The image in the mirror across the room didn't look like someone healing. It looked like someone waiting to be someone else. And maybe that's all I ever was. Someone who survived. Someone who was told, forget what you did, forget who you were, be this instead. But now I knew too much. Now I wanted the truth, even if it left no one standing. The next morning, I walked to the woods behind the house. No coat, no phone, just the flash drive in my pocket. I knew if I turned around, I'd see Adrian watching me from the window. But I didn't. I kept walking. The trees blurred. The sky folded in on itself, gray and low and silent. It wasn't about escape anymore. It was about going back. Back to the moment before I became this version of myself, before I let someone else decide who I could be. I stopped when I reached the place where the ground changed, softer, disturbed, like something had once been buried. A patch of earth the color of rust. I knelt, pressed my fingers into the soil, and whispered, "Tell me who I was." I saw flashes, not a montage, not a dream, a memory. A motel room, blood on the walls, my hands shaking. A woman's voice, mine, but not mine, laughing through her teeth. "You think you're different now, just because you're scared." Then silence, then impact. I don't know if I pushed her or if she fell, but when I looked down, her head was bleeding, and I was still holding the handle of the lamp. I opened my eyes. The ground was dry. My palms hurt from clenching, but the image stayed. That version of me, angry, broken, dangerous, was still alive. Not out there, in here. That's why Adrian brought me back. Not to heal me, but to contain me. When I got back to the house, Adrian was waiting on the porch. He didn't speak, just watched me. I held out the flash drive. "I'm not her anymore," I said. He took it, slowly. "Then, who are you?" "I'm the part that stayed behind." We never spoke about the woman in the video again. I didn't ask her real name. I didn't want it. Some truths don't need to be remembered to be carried. I stayed, not because I had to, but because I wanted to know if something broken could still be good. Adrian smiled less after that, but when he did, it was real. And sometimes, when the house was quiet and the light felt just right, I almost believed I was someone worth saving. The end.